What's up, guys? It's Alex from Maximum Charge, and this is the Himiway C5. Guys, look at how cool this thing is. It features motorcycle-like fairings and a unique paint job unlike anything else I've ever seen on any other e-bike. And with that, you also get front and rear, high travel, super soft suspension that makes this a capable off-roader, and it also gives you a very soft riding experience. And on top of all that, you got a lot of unique little details on this e-bike that I've never seen on any other e-bike before. So today, guys, we're gonna take a look at the specs and components of this Himiway C5, this dirt bike looking motorcycle style electric bike. And after that, we're gonna take it out on the road for a test ride. Let's jump right in. All right, guys, let's go ahead and take a look at the specs and components of the Himiway C5 motorbike. Let's jump right in. Let's check out the top. So starting off at the top, we have some nice feeling, squishy rubber handlebar grips that are locking from the outside and the inside. Thumb throttle, hydraulic disc brake levers, control panels right here. We'll take a look at this later. And we also get a little bicycle bell. Main display right here. And this thing is so fantastic. I'm gonna turn this on right now for you guys. Look at that. Himiway, super bright screen, very simple, minimalist looking. We're gonna get into the details of this screen later. And this bike comes with a Shimano 7-speed trigger shifter. And this bike does feature BMX style handlebars. Moving on down, we've got our cable management, and here is the headlight. Look at this headlight. Look how cool this looks. I have never seen any kind of headlight like this before. It is decently bright, but it looks fantastic. And of course, we got that reflector underneath. And guys, here's what that headlight looks like. This thing is super bright, very bright headlight. And guys, look at these tires. These are very unique looking tires. I've never seen anything like this on any other bike before. These tires look kind of aggressive looking, but they also look like they could be pretty good for street performance. I really like these. I think these are custom made for Himiway. And if you guys notice, this bike does not come with a front fender. C5 Ultra Sport. Guys, check out these air shocks, this dual crown fork right here. These are super comfortable. There's tons of travel in these suspension forks. And I really do appreciate this like carbon fiber looking cover that the front forks have. And right over here, you can adjust the compression of the front fork. And underneath, we've got our rebound adjustment. 180 millimeter rotors with the Tektro hydraulic disc brake calipers. These come on the front and rear. Basic pedals. And moving on back, guys, you got this very cool looking, abstract looking paint splatter paint job. It's not for everyone, but I think it looks very cool. Again, with the carbon fiber paint job up here. And check this out, guys. This bike also comes with a cup holder and a nice little coffee mug. This is metal. And so if you want to stay well caffeinated and sip on your coffee while you ride your Himiway C5 motorbike style e-bike, you can do that with this. And here's the branding of the Himiway C5. I really like how this logo looks. I think they did a really amazing job on styling this bike. Long, squishy seat, very easy to adjust your seating position. And it is decently wide, but not too wide. I actually found it fairly comfortable to pedal this bike because of this narrow part right here. And it is decently squishy as well. Nice job, Himiway. I've given you a comfortable and ergonomic seat. And there's that air shock in the back. Let me show you guys a clip of how I adjusted it. Yeah, if you guys take a look right here, here's the cover to the valve of the rear shock. There's another one up there, but we're just gonna mess with this one right here. And obviously to remove air here, you just press this in. Be very careful about how much you take out because you push this in a little bit and a lot of air comes out. So if I push in just a little bit, look at that. The whole bike just moved and now we don't have enough. And so what I found is I'm just gonna use my air pump right here that I have. I'm gonna connect the air pump to the shock. Look at that, it just went down even more. And I found a comfortable setting to be about 45 PSI. So right now it's at 4 PSI and the bike is immediately gonna rise up. There you go, so it went up to 50. But now when I go ahead and try the bike, We got plenty of travel, but not too much. And there's that Himiway branded 750 watt geared hub motor in the back. And by the way, this motor does peak at 1056 watts with its 22 amp controller. And here we've got this shorter, sporty style rear fender in the back. 7-speed Shimano transmission with the derailleur guard that you have to attach, and a Shimano Altus derailleur. Family series. And this back chain does get fairly close to the tire. And guys, I do want to show you that there is no chain rubbing on the tire for my particular bike, and I did adjust the derailleur as perfectly as I could to try and maybe replicate it, but right now I got nothing. So this is the top gear right now. This is the fastest gear, whatever you want to call it. And if we switch all the way down to the lowest gear, that largest sprocket, it looks fine, guys. I don't have any rubbing at all. And we also get a medium-sized front chainring in the front. Now this bike does come with a torque sensor, and so what that means is that you're going to actually have to put some force into these pedals to get power out of this rear motor. You can't just simply rotate this and get a certain amount of power out of the motor. You have to put some force into these pedals. So if you're someone who likes to exercise and get some exercise out of their e-bikes, a torque sensor is going to be something that you'll appreciate. It's not for everyone, but if it's something you value, this is probably one of the only e-moped style e-bikes out there that does come with a torque sensor. And guys, this is the Himiway branded 20 amp hour, 48 volt, 960 watt hour battery. I really like how it is mounted underneath. It does almost seem like it fits in perfectly with the shape and design of this e-bike. So it looks like it's almost part of the bike and not just a chunky battery sticking out of the frame. And Himiway has some light features on the battery that I want to show you guys. So there's a little touch button on the side that if we hold for a little bit, the lights turn on, and at first you get this breathing pattern, and you just tap that, and you can switch out the different light patterns. It does sound like there's a little bit of a haptic feedback motor inside. You can hear it spin up every time you hit the button, and that'll give you a different looking light pattern. And with the headlight on, it does give for a kind of cool look. I've never seen LED lighting elements on a stock e-bike before, so this is a first. Himiway is definitely going for style points on this one. And guys, to take this battery out, you use the supplied keys. Check out this key design, guys. Very interesting. It's got the Himiway logo on there. So you go ahead and use the key, put the key in, twist it, and then you can go ahead and slide the battery out. There's that Himiway branding on the battery and some cool looking designs underneath. And we do get the specs of the battery underneath as well. Let's go ahead and throw that back in there. Line everything up, push it back. Now it's locked in. Now it's not going anywhere. And on this battery, you get a USB-C port right over there. It also has a little battery meter right here with a haptic feedback button. So you press that and it shows your battery level, and it does vibrate every time you touch it. There's your charging port. And we also get another USB port underneath the display. Himiway branded passively cooled charger, which charges at a rate of 3 amps. Here's that tucked away rear taillight in the back with a very unique looking design. The back of the frame features this part that sticks out, which is very handy for grabbing the bike in the back and maneuvering it around. Something I think that could be improved upon is the location of this kickstand, because as you notice, it is very, very close to the rear disc brake rotor. So I found myself having to be very careful to not be too aggressive when I was grabbing the kickstand out with my foot. I can see a lot of people kicking that disc brake rotor, and then from there it warps and then it causes all kinds of issues. So maybe Himiway can redesign this at some point. And what else you got on this frame are a bunch of little spots to mount things. Right here, there's another one back there. There's a couple underneath right here. And so in theory, if Himiway decides to release a bunch of accessories for this bike, you can mount a lot of different things on this frame. And guys, this display is very clean looking, very bright, minimalist looking display. It just has exactly what you need. It's got the battery bar, And down here is a power level bar, so if you go ahead and throttle a little bit, it'll show you how much power you're using. I would have loved to see a voltage readout, and instead of this power meter, maybe a watt readout as well, but they wanted to keep it simple, I guess. They wanted to keep it clean looking, so it is what it is. Get your odometer also, trip distance, average speed, max speed. This bike also has a walk mode, so if you hold the minus button down, it'll give you a slow 4 miles an hour, so you can walk next to the bike if you need to walk it up a very steep hill. And guys, this bike does have an auto headlight where it senses light through a small little sensor up here. Currently, the room that I'm recording in is kind of dark, so we're gonna go ahead and use this little light to check out the function. So if we put the light up to the sensor, the headlight turns off, and then if we remove the light, it turns back on. Turning the headlight off, you just hold the plus button, and that'll turn it off. Screen gets a little bit brighter. And now guys, I'm gonna show you the settings of this display and how to unlock the top speed of this bike. And by the way, all of this information is right on Himiway's YouTube website if you do wanna check it out, or you can continue watching here. So first we're gonna go ahead and hold the plus and minus buttons down. TC, that means trip clear. Obviously you can clear your odometer that way. Press the M button to switch to the next one, which is the backlight brightness. So I like to keep that all the way at 5. P1 is the auto headlight, 1 is for on, 2 is for off. We're gonna keep that on. Press M again. Here you can switch your units from miles to kilometers an hour. We're gonna keep that in miles. 48, that's the voltage of the bike. We're gonna keep that at 48, of course. You can decrease it to 36 or 48. Those are your only two options. And off is the screen timeout. Hold the M button again to get to the main screen. And to get into the advanced settings, you go back to the standard settings, hold the plus and minus buttons down, go ahead and hold the minus and the M button, and here we are. Now this is gonna ask you for a password, and the password is 0510. Here's where you adjust the wheel size. We're gonna keep that at 20, and L5 is your speed limiter. So it was set, I think, to 20 when I got the bike, and we just go ahead and bring this all the way up to 28. To get our full top speed. And of course, guys, follow your local laws and regulations. So technically, when you increase this is gonna bring it out of that class 3 section. So do this at your own risk. And we'll just hold the M button down once again and get back to the main menu. Just a couple quick features from the unboxing process. Here we have a coffee mug. Let's check this out. All right, check it out. This is actually pretty good. It's metal. Stainless steel. This is nice. You can sip on your coffee while you're riding your Himiway bike. It looks like you get this little keychain strap inside as well. Maybe we'll do that during the test ride. Maybe that'll be one of the videos. We're gonna chill and enjoy some coffee while we ride our dirt bike motorcycle style e-bike. And you also get this black box during the unboxing process, which comes with a nice looking hat. All right, feels like a pretty nice hat. It's always good to have extra hats. All right, check this out. Look at that, nice box of extra parts. This is fantastic because a lot of times you need some extra parts throughout the lifespan of your e-bike, and it's always nice to have extra screws. Looks like there's some bolts in there, a couple nuts and washers. Fantastic. All right, there's our multi-tool that you can of course take with you for quick roadside adjustments and repairs, and obviously for also assembling your e-bike. Derail your guard. Here we go. We have our bell, so you can annoy people. So you can tell people on your left when you're passing them. Wrench. Charger is in this box. I was already using it. And then underneath, you get another wrench. Must have fallen back there. Here we have our user's manual. Long range e-bike expert. And guys, we also get some included stickers that you can use to switch up the look of your Himiway C5 motorbike. And guys, we're on the Himiway C5 website for the electric motorbike C5. This bike comes in 2 different colors, the ink gray color that you guys see in the video, along with a white color right over here. Currently, this bike is listed for just under $2,300. Moving on down, you do get the advertised 20+ mile an hour top speed, and right here, it's got this little note that says you can unlock it for up to 28 miles an hour. Here's our estimated range right here, and it will tell you, of course, that this range is affected by many factors. Payload capacity is 330 pounds. Advertised torque sensor. And over here, underneath specs, you get a diagram of the geometry and measurements of the bike itself. Recommended rider height, 5'4" to 6'3". Feel free to pause it at this point in the video if you want to read some of these measurements. And then scrolling down under specifications, you get a detailed list of everything that's included in this bike. The 44-tooth crankset up front, the type of Shimano freewheel that's used, 14 to 28 tooth, the type of rear shock, EXA A5RE, and the KKE front fork as well. 140 millimeters of travel, very nice. 22 amp controller, weight of this bike is 88 pounds. And the max payload is 330 pounds. And the motor for this bike is rated at 86 Newton meters of max torque. And guys, as you could tell, Himiway really wants to advertise this as an electric motorbike. And if you look very closely at this picture, I spy with my little eye an accessory, which looks like a little basket that you can put underneath. Maybe Himiway will release that in the future. Maybe they're going to release some accessories for this bike, so stay tuned for that. Hey guys, here's what I look like on the bike at 5'10". As you can see, it is very easy to mount and dismount this bike. I can easily touch my feet on the ground. So this bike is on the smaller side, but just by a little bit. If you were smaller than me, I'm 5'10". If you were shorter, maybe like 5'8", 5'7", something like that, you'd feel very comfortable on this bike. It wouldn't feel like it's too big like some of the other e-bikes out there. But if you're a taller guy, it might be a little bit on the cramped side because this e-bike is on the smaller side. Suspension travel is fantastic. The front has a ton of travel. And the back, once you adjust it, it does come out of the box on the firmer side, but once you adjust it out of the box, you let out a little bit of air. It is fairly comfortable, good amount of travel in the back. And picking this bike up is fairly easy because it does have this rear handle back here. This bike is only 88 pounds, which is on the lighter side for a moped style e-bike. A lot of moped style e-bikes are heavier than this one, and with the inclusion of this rear handle, it is very easy to lift up and maneuver around. So guys, those are the specs and components of the Himiway C5. And on Himiway's website, this is advertised as a motorbike. And I think it definitely looks the part, but now we're gonna take it out on the road for a test drive and see if it can also perform the part. Let's jump right in. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we are on a very special Himiway C5 e-bike. This is a motorcycle style, moped style e-bike. It almost looks like a dirt bike. And so we are going to start it off with the main hill climb test. The battery is fully freshly charged. We did unlock this bike because you know how we do it around here, folks. We unlock everything. If there is speed, if there is power to be unlocked, we're gonna get it. We want all the power. So here we are, main hill climb test. We're just starting off the trip. This is going to be throttle only. Without further ado, 3, 2, 1, go. Soft initial start. And guys, if you do like content like this, please feel free to subscribe if I've earned your subscription. Like the video if you like it, hit the notification bell. And if you don't like the video, tell me why in the comments. Follow me on social media, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and my Facebook group, E-Bike Addicts. And I also have a new Facebook group, High Speed E-Bikes. 40 plus miles an hour. And here we go. We're finishing up at almost 20 miles an hour, almost about 19 miles an hour. All right, interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna go ahead and do our downhill speed test right now. Out of the box, it's limited to 20 miles an hour, throttle only. But when you unlock it, you can get 28 miles an hour out of it. And right now our downhill speed is 31. That's pretty good, not too bad. Again, it's not a crazy steep hill. This bike does have a torque sensor, and so you are going to have to work to get some power out of it if you want to pedal this thing, right? If you want to pedal and get some power out of it, if you like exercise, This bike would be okay for that. Initial impressions on the seat, fairly comfortable. For a dirt bike style, moped style seat, so far so good. Although we are going to obviously evaluate that over the trip. I did decrease the stiffness of the rear suspension, and that does feel much better just dropping off the curb. Let's see what this, oh yeah, that feels great. The suspension comes set at a pretty stiff level, and that's probably good, because if you're a heavier rider, you want that suspension to be on the firmer side so it's not just bottoming out. Here we go. Up the curb, easy, no problems. But if you're a lighter guy, all you have to do is let out a tiny bit of air from that shock and you'll be all set. Versus if it comes already on the softer side, you then have to pump it up, which is a lot more work. So I think overall Himiway did a good job in giving you a stiffer shock out of the box. So that way it's easy to adjust. If you're a heavier guy, no adjustment needed. But if you're a lightweight guy, you just let out literally the tiniest, smallest amount of air and it'll be perfect. All right, and here we go. We're about to do our steep hill climb test. We don't time this, guys. We just see if it can do it or not and at what speed. And here we go, throttle only. See what we got, 48 volts. If it dips below 7, I don't know if it can do it. All right, here we go. We're going into 6 miles, 5 miles an hour. All right, interesting. You know what's funny is it's actually doing it. Most bikes that dip below this speed, the motor just cuts out completely, but this one keeps going. So it is doing the steep hill climb. It will make it. But obviously if you pedal, you'll get more power, right? Because you have your legs, right? Yeah, it'll do it. This isn't the highest powered bike. It's a 48 volt system, nothing crazy. So don't expect much out of the power department if that's something you're interested in. If you just want to kind of throttle around and fly around without using your legs, this might not be the bike for you. But if you do want to pedal, if you like using your legs with that torque sensor, this is a pretty good option. And so now what we're going to do is ride around and test this bike out. We'll see how it performs. We'll give it at least a 10-mile ride, and we'll talk about the features and performance of the bike. Brake test. Oh, see that? Slid out a little bit sideways, but that's okay. Hydraulic disc brakes, 180 millimeter rotors. They work fantastic. You'll get the stopping power you need with that setup, especially because this bike is on the lighter side for a moped style bike. Sometimes they're a little bit on the heavy side. Slight delay on that throttle. Not a big deal though. Yeah, see, it cuts me off at no power after 27 miles an hour. Handling does feel nimble and stable. I like how nimble feeling this bike is. Let's see the throttle delay. It ramps up very slowly. I press it, and then it winds up for about half a second, and then it gives you the power. Interesting. Handling feels very tight, although check this out, guys. So this dual crown fork has these bumpers, and these bumpers are good because you don't want to be crushing the bike itself with the fork. And because of this, because of the frame design, it sticks out a little bit wider. And watch this. This is how much steering we get. See that? It doesn't even look like it's getting to a 45-degree angle. So for riding purposes, this is fine. You'll ride around just fine, no problems. But when you're trying to maneuver this bike, like if I'm trying to just turn it, notice how big that turning radius is. If I'm just trying to turn this bike around. So this back handle is very useful. Thankfully, they added that back handle so I can easily maneuver this bike around whichever way I need to. All right, so this is a long, steep hill. See how we do. Throttle only. Guys, I do really like the display of this bike. Big, simple, clean display. No fancy graphics that no one cares about anyways. I see what I need to see. I see my speed. I see my odometer, my trip distance. I see the battery level. The one thing I would like to see, however, is how many watts I'm currently using and the voltage of the battery. Those, I believe, are very important to see, especially the voltage, because battery bars can be inaccurate. Nobody really knows what that is. That could mean anything. right? And this little power level right here, I don't know what exactly that means. That's just, I guess, your throttle amount. The pedaling experience of this bike isn't too bad, although this is a moped-style e-bike that is on the smaller side. I'm not the tallest guy. I'm 5'10", about average male height. And so if you're shorter than me, you'll be okay on this bike. You'll be all right. However, if you're taller than me and you're maybe 6 foot and above, this might not be the bike for you. It's going to feel a little bit cramped, especially if you have longer legs. I do like the steering feel of this bike. I just feel like I can zip around and make tight turns. Let's do another brake test. 20-mile-an-hour brake test. Let's get up to speed. Here we go. Boom. Yeah. Works fine. Slid out a little bit sideways, but that's okay. The back wheel locks up, and the front wheel has a lot of stopping power. As you can see, we've got those two 180-millimeter disc brake rotors that work fantastic with the Tektro hydraulic brakes. Let's get a little bit of off-roading in here. Oh man, the shocks feel nice. The suspension is fantastic, guys. Yeah, this is very bumpy right here. There we go. Easy. No problem. Big bump. Yeah, no problem. Off-roading feels phenomenal. Let's attack this curb right here. Boom. Easy peasy. Let's turn it around. Yeah, see, the turning radius while you're riding is fine. You're not going to notice the lack of steering while you're riding. It's just when you're maneuvering the bike. Let's go ahead and cross the busy streets. Here we go. Let's see where we ghost pedal. So we're in highest gear. So if you pedal fast, you still get some resistance at 30, although you do gotta move your legs, guys. So pedaling full speed, you could definitely get to that 28-mile-an-hour mark. Got a little bell right here. Get out of my way. I should probably stop yelling in this quiet neighborhood. And the pedaling experience uphill. Let's gear it down, very low gearing. Look at that. My legs are moving pretty quick. Pedal assist 5, going up this hill. But I gotta use my legs, guys. It's torque sensor. Or you can hit the throttle and get what would be a cadence sensor experience, which I prefer, but I know some of you guys like torque sensors, so the seat is very easy to slide forwards and back on. You can hug the bike easily with your legs. The handlebar grips do feel nice and squishy and comfortable, and these are locking handlebars from both sides, so they're not going to spin on you at all. They are very stable, so if you are doing some aggressive off-roading, these handlebars aren't going to move on you. And also, if you're doing aggressive off-roading, you can easily adjust your seating position forwards or back. You can hug the bike easily if you want, because of the fairing of this e-moped style e-bike, which looks kind of like a little dirt bike. Oh man, guys, the suspension feels so good. It is so soft, so cushy. Wow. This thing can probably handle some jumps. I'm not going to tell you to go ahead and do jumps, but this thing feels nice. This is a treat to ride. And the suspension feels so good that it adds to the seat comfort. Sometimes bikes come with not so great seats, but the suspension makes up for it. So whatever bumps there are that the seat doesn't absorb, the suspension absorbs it all, which makes the seat feel a lot more comfortable. The tires are nice and quiet. They're like semi-street, semi-off-road style tires. I do really appreciate the styling of this bike. I think that is the #1 highlight of this bike. It looks epic. It looks amazing. This bike will turn heads when you're riding around, and it might turn the heads of police officers. I mean, this thing looks like a little dirt bike. So if you want to draw attention to yourself, maybe good or bad, this bike is going to be for you. If you want to stay low-key, maybe this isn't the best bike to have. And we can jump off curbs so easy. Oh yeah, no problems. I want to do that again. Man, this thing is fun. I am really enjoying myself on this thing. By the way, guys, this bike, being smaller, it is so easy to mount and dismount on this bike. Quick swing over, and you're there. And with this style seat, you can really just sit wherever. You can sit in the back, you can sit in the front. So it is very easy to mount and dismount on this bike, almost effortless. All right, guys, so my final thoughts on this initial ride of this Himiway C5 moped style, motorcycle looking, dirt bike looking e-bike. This bike looks amazing. A+ in the aesthetics department. It is so cool looking. It looks like a little dirt bike. I love the paint job. I love the carbon fiber. You even get a little cup holder right here. This is awesome. The grips feel nice. The brakes stop fantastic. The trigger shifter shifts fantastic. The torque sensor is fantastic. If you like pedaling, you will enjoy this bike. If you want to use your legs for exercise, the display is outstanding. Very clear and visible. I didn't even put up my GPS right here. Usually I have my phone mounted next to the display because some of these displays are very hard to read. I didn't even do that because this thing is so big, bright, and beautiful. And the second amazing highlight about this bike is the suspension performance. Oh man, it is like a cloud. It is a joy to ride. So much travel in the front and in the back. I feel like I can handle any kind of bumps, any kind of jumps with this thing. The suspension on this thing, A+. Amazing. Seat comfort is great too. So far we're 6 miles in and the seat feels the same as I first got on it. For some other e-bikes, when I get on it, it feels okay, but then after a few miles, you start kind of shifting left and right, and you're like, it's not really all that comfortable. This one so far is fine. And I think that has to do with the suspension of this bike. It's so soft and cushy. It just eats up any kind of bump. And so even if this seat is on the harder side, you won't really feel it because the suspension just eats everything up. This bike is so fun, so maneuverable. I can just zip around on this thing. I can jump curbs. I can get up curbs easy. No problem. My best buddy over here, I always like to say hi to him. Hey, you can easily just jump on any kind of curbs. Boom. No problem. Jump off the curb. Eat this curb up. Easy. Oh my God. I love it. This bike doesn't have the lowest price point, but if aesthetics are something you really value, maybe it's worth it for you. If the suspension performance is something you really value, maybe it's worth it for you. Not the most amount of power on this bike. It is on the lower side for power. However, if that's something you want where maybe you don't want a lot of power, maybe you want to keep it within the legal limits, and I understand that with a lot of the laws and regulations that are coming out, you can then pedal. This thing has a torque sensor. And torque sensors are known for their efficiency, right? Because they really use your leg power a lot better than cadence sensors. So if you're someone who does like to pedal, this bike might be an option for you. And considering Himiway is a very well-known and established company, you're likely to get very good customer support from them if you buy one of their products. It's not some no-name company where you buy a product and then good luck fixing something if something happens to break or malfunction. With Himiway, you know that they are a very well-known and established brand, and so they are likely to give you excellent customer support. And so guys, what I'm gonna do now is just continue riding. I'm gonna keep recording some footage for this review ride, get this bike to at least 10 miles, and then we'll throw the bike on the voltmeter and see where the voltage is after a certain amount of miles in this bike. If you guys do want to check out this bike, please check out the link in the description below. Any kind of coupon codes or discounts that are available will be listed there as well. If you guys like videos like this, please subscribe to the channel. Like the video if you like it. If you don't like it, tell me why in the comments. Tell me why you're mad. Follow me on social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I have 2 Facebook groups, e-bike addicts and high-speed e-bikes, 40 miles an hour and over. That's it for today, folks. Until next time.